concrete curb sidewalk replacements intermittent throughout the run from Jersey Avenue to Paul Robeson Boulevard, and that will be followed by a surface mill and pave. Jules Lane is out to bid right now. That project will include the advancing of a water line from the tank feed on Home News Row to the intersection of Jersey and Jules, and that will immediately be followed by roadway improvement project for the full length of Jules Lane. That's out to bid. Bids will be back. We expect to have it on in front of the council for approval, award and approval in early May. Sanford Street improvements is a more complex job. It has sanitary sewer work, some storm sewer work, a water main replacement, and then a curb and sidewalk, intermittent curb and sidewalk, followed by resurfacing. And then it's got two traffic signals that are going to be updated and improved. One at Paul Robeson at Sanford, and the other one at Remsen at Sanford. French Albany Easton is a county job that the city participated in that was completed late last fall. It's in punch list, and there'll be some remaining punch list, but don't anticipate any substantial traffic interferences from here forward. The Cancer Institute project with the accompanying parking deck is in progress. At this time, the anticipation is completion somewhere around early spring of 25 for occupancy. The parking deck, the main parking deck work has been completed. All the precast elements of it are in place. And the skin of the main pavilion is in the works. The next element that'll proceed is there's a overhead walkway that'll go from the pavilion over to it's the older cancer center.
Yeah, it meets the walkway to current cancer center.
Right. So that will be tied together by an overhead walkway. The column supports are in progress now. The actual overhead work is anticipated to be delivered and installed sometime in June. PSE&G has two major projects that'll be new electrical feeds coming out of a substation that's being built out at the border of New Brunswick and North Brunswick, just off of Joyce Kilmer and the tracks. One of the major feeds will come down Joyce Kilmer to Patterson and Patterson to French. And the second feed will find its way down all the way down Remsen Avenue, across George to Tabernacle to Nielsen. Nielsen will have a leg that goes down to Richmond, and then another leg that will spur and go up New Street to Joyce Kilmer. And those projects are expected to begin in about 2 to 3 weeks. What they'll do first is put in the intermittent vaults, and then come back and tie them together with the conduit lines, and that'll be followed up by pulling wire. And that's
then they pave curb to curb first when they're done in those areas.
That's it, sir.
Thank you very much. We now come to the opportunity for public comment. We would invite anyone to come forward. We would just ask that you share your name and place of residence.
Yes, my name is Emery Gerenzer. I'm at 8 Parkview Drive, New Brunswick. Been here for 42 years. And Landing Lane, we're having issues with Landing Lane and traffic. So I'm going like, where can I possibly take this issue to? And this is a traffic council. So I said, well, you guys should be pretty up to snuff about what's going on there. We've been very familiar with that traffic pattern there, but it's getting very, very bad. It's backing up onto Easton Avenue where cars can't make it through. Consequently, they blocked that section. And there seems to be a couple solutions, but I would think a traffic engineer would have to take a long look at that. Because I think if there was a steady flow from Landing Lane right down to Route 18, it would help things immensely. But what happens is the traffic that is going to go over the bridge, when they get the red light, if that gets 2 or 3 deep, the cars that their intention is to go to Route 18 can't go, and it stops. So that backs up. When the bridge was out for 6 months, a couple years ago, traffic flowed pretty evenly there. So I don't know whether the answer is to knock the bridge down. I wouldn't think so.
That area is very complicated because there's 3 major different entities involved, unfortunately. The Delaware Canal is its own historic district and has its own canal commission. So it's like a third governmental body. if
And
you
it's
will.
state park.
And it's also a state park.
Yeah.
So the bridge that crosses the canal alone is state.
Okay,
The balance, the roadways, both roadways approaching both George Street and Landing Lane are both county jurisdiction.
Okay.
And then on the other side of the towpath going to Piscataway is back to county jurisdiction.
okay.
So the best venue for you would be to take it to, I would imagine the county engineers, and I'm sorry to do that, but it's their roadways. It's not, I don't control their roadways.
Their signals
But-
also.
And their signals.
But isn't from the brook south, isn't that New Brunswick?
Yes, but in New Brunswick, we have three different roadway jurisdictions.
I
Some
got you.
roadways are state governed and controlled, others are county governed and controlled. The majority are city governed and controlled. Generally, the major thoroughfares are either state or county.
County.
Like Livingston Avenue is a county right away.
So that stretch from Parkview Drive, where I am, down to the bridge is
Correct.
county.
That is county, that's correct.
Yeah, Parkview is city,
Parkview
West
is
is
city,
county,
Right.
George is county.
Got it.
right,
Yeah.
and Easton's county at that point.
So anything,
East End is county, Landing Lane is county.
The small bridge. Well, no, the small bridge is state, the big bridge
Is county,
so,
correct.
so
We
any,
just, for your information,
Okay.
we just posted a updated roadway map that identifies all the roadway jurisdictions within the municipality. It's on the planning department website with all the other maps. You might take advantage, it's color, there's a color-coded version, very clearly shows which roads or which ones are county, state, and municipal jurisdictions.
so if I go to the county, the similar traffic type council, they,
I don't know that they have a specific,
I
you
don't
may
think
want to try the commissioners meeting first.
okay,
You know, that would be my best suggestion, unless you can call maybe the engineering department and find out if they do have a similar commission meeting. I don't know, maybe Mr. Crowder is aware if the county has a commission, is a traffic commission like us, or?
As far as I know, just the planning board, they only have a transportation coordinating committee, but that's been
They,
defunct for a
they
couple
do
of
have their
years.
own in-house traffic engineer, and he's very helpful, I'll tell you that.
All
I've
right.
consulted with him, so you might be able to call the engineering department and say,
And
can
get the
I
traffic."
speak to the traffic engineer? He's retired from another jurisdiction, he works here, I think it's 19 hours a week, but
But
he's been very helpful.
Very
Okay.
responsive, very much.
excellent.
George Fallon, I
Yeah,
think.
it's George Fallon, I don't have his number offhand, but
But you can feel free to tell him that you spoke to us.
yes,
Both.
and we directed him.
And
Like I
we'll
said,
direct you to him.
All right.
I'm sorry to do that, but
Yeah.
that's the.
No, no,
but
that's,
he's,
if
I
you know
think-
the jurisdiction, you know the
I
jurisdiction.
recommend him as a good source to start with before you get to another board meeting,
Okay,
all right?
good, thank you, gentlemen.
Yes, thank you.
Take care.
Tonight at 7 o'clock, if you want to speak on the matter right across the street there. There was a county meeting with the engineer here, due to at 7 o'clock, right across the street at the court building tonight.
Today?
Tonight, right, 7 o'clock, right across the street.
It's been a long day.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Hi, yes, Daniel Moore. First, I would like to start off with you, Mr. Relentley, with an issue I find due to where from the last time where about me making things patient, and I got your right answer when I talked to you on the phone the other day. You said you're a very busy person, you have a lot to do, and yes, I understand, and that's why basically due to where I'm not patient on things, I remind you due to where, like I said, I know you're very busy, due to where, and like I said, I was going to take an example with you to show you example what I'm talking about, due to where I haven't brought it up in the meeting, and three things that I haven't spoken at traffic meeting, it hasn't been done. Why? Because I haven't been reminding you. Just like everyone, the doctor reminds you, I'm not impatient about things being done, like I showed you with my artwork that I do. It's all about patience. Now, I would say due to a while, I said as a test with you, what 3 things that hasn't been done. The signs haven't been put back up on Ball Street due to where, it's been over a little over a year now with the car crash that took the side over there, with the sign, the pedestrian due to where, the accident there. I will remind you what, it's been 2 years now, what, since PSE&G hasn't come back around, since they repaved the roads due to where what? They didn't redo the owners, a lot of owners, the damage to their property. I will remind you about Fulton Street. Then also due to where what? That's about what with the dumpster, due to where it's still in the stream of the by through town, due to where from Hurricane Ida. So my point is to you, when I say I'm speaking on things, I'm not impatient. It's due to where, just like you said, you're a very busy person. You got so many projects going on. It's just a reminder to you, not that I'm impatient. Now, my biggest thing I'm here to talk on, due to where I showed all these pictures to the county as well at the last meeting, I want to start talking on the safety issues regards to the new school. For example, due to where I was told due to where by Mr. Ron Sanders that the city was to order all the owners over there to take their responsibility in redoing their sidewalks and curbing and all. I would let you have the pictures due to where that's a big issue over there, due to where they said it's not their responsibility that the notice was given to you to tell all the owners to start doing their curbing, their sidewalks and all. So that's let's see, I think there was a couple more regards to that, or that's the only one. Now, the other things that I'm here to talk about due to where, as you can see the school, where he said also, it's up to the city to, even though it's a county road, like you said, Jersey Avenue and French Street, but he said it's up to the city to decide where are the walkways going to go regards to what? School crossing. Due to where what? You don't have walkways over there in areas with the school. So like I said, due to where it's just time to speak up, due to where I would like to know where are the walkways going to go, where are the crossing guards going to be, due to where what? Like I said, it's not, if you understand what I'm saying, due to where, so you can have a clue, tell me like far as with Jersey Avenue, where are the crosswalks going to be, where are the crossing guards going to be?
That is up to the Board of Education. They are deciding that now. When the board advises us where they're going to put the crossing guards, we will advise the county. When the county repaves it, they will strike crosswalks at those locations. So we're waiting on the Board of Education. And I guess they'll work with the police on it. Is that correct, officer? Yes.
Okay, crossing guards, so that the same thing for the Board of Education to choose where crosswalks go?
They're going to decide where they want to place their crossing guards. There's going to be a new...
No, I said crosswalks for pedestrians to
When the board tells us which intersections that they're going to put their crossing guards, then the county will make sure those get painted with crosswalks at the appropriate locations when the road is being paved. The whole road's going to be repaved, and there's a new traffic signal going in at the
Yes,
end,
I know.
and then the road gets modified. There's a whole, the county has the drawings, they approve.
Oh, believe me, Mr. Ron, like I said, Mr. Ron
So the road
said it
gets wide.
explains everything.
If the road gets wide, there's going to be a dedicated left turn lane going down Jersey into the school. So they have to modify the curbs and the sidewalks on one side, and they have to modify some things on the other side. So there's a lot of improvement that you showing the photographs right now already have anticipated improving it all. So I would suggest we get a copy of the drawings so then you can look at it, because it'll answer 95% of the questions that you're
Well,
asking.
no, like I said, believe me, Mr. Ron Sanders is very close to it. Like I said, I have his cell phone number, everything for emergencies, whatever when needed, but I don't bother him unless it's a total emergency. But like I said, due to where he's saying they're not going to do anything until the city and the Board of Education speak on well, now that that you're saying Board of Education, but like I said, I do see.
Suggestion, if we agree, then we compliment, we do it, as simple as that.
Well, like I said, I do see that they didn't reprove, like due to where a lot of the curbings in the areas, and that's why I was wondering, since due to where, with the curbings, I'll give you all the pictures, due to
I'm
where.
very aware of, what's gonna happen is whatever residents are up, whatever, if those individual buildings are up for 3-year inspections, they're gonna do the inspections. That's one option to do it. There's limited times that we can force people to do things, but in any event, we're gonna do our best to encourage people to replace. I don't know that I can compel them legally on a county road. There's just
Well, that's what,
there's a distinction.
that's what they said in the meeting, due to where, like, because I tried to understand the difference due to where, like, how you do, Livingston Avenue, they just did everybody's sidewalk and curbing over there.
That's a county
Like,
road.
yeah, and just like you're doing with, with Handy Street. I was asking him, what's the difference due to where, why are now they saying that it's the owner's responsibility to do the curbing and sidewalks over there?
That's been in New Brunswick's ordinances for 50 years, that it's the homeowner's responsibility to maintain sidewalk and curb. It's called the property maintenance code. There's a whole section in the city ordinance that relate to that. Sometimes when there's public funding for a road project, like there was public funding for Livingston Avenue, there's public funding for Sanford Street, and public funding for Handy Street, then we can do what we can do to try to improve the whole area. And in some cases, people are benefit from that. In other cases, they don't. This is not the case with this area. We don't have public funding for this.
Okay, well, like I said, my main concern is due to where no crosswalks, like I said, only crosswalk that's basically on, this is French Street now, where you see kids crossing the street. Like I said, I'll give you all the pictures.
Well, there's one other thing I'd like to add, and Mr. Senator did offer this, in the event that the Board of Ed feels they may want to put a crosswalk on French to feed maybe Hale Street, they will paint crosswalks for there as well.
And the only crosswalk basically in that area, that's where I think it's Florence Street on one side, and I'm sure, I think it's what, Hell, like I said, there are two on each side, they're different. One is Florence Street.
Florence is Handy. Handy Road turns into Florence.
No.
When you come straight across, it's Florence, right?
Alexander.
Oh, Alexander, I apologize, my apologies.
I think there's one where Baldwin turns into the other street. I think there's one there, isn't there?
That's Bethany.
Yes, I think there's one at Bethany.
Oh,
I think
then
there's one
Florence may be one
all the
further.
way down.
Yeah,
Florence is
so
further
there's
down.
a little difference due to where, yes, like I said, this is the only area with crosswalks. So like I said, that was my main concern due to where, like I said, that's Florence on one side. Maybe that's Delavan on the other side, there's somewhere around that way. But that's my main concern that I'm speaking, and like I said, due to we're hearing with the Board of Education, all this, I'm just shocked that this is all about the Board of Education now and not under traffic. I'm just really shocked due to where.
Well, they're going to tell us where they expect most of their students to come from. Why would I make that determination, right? They'll know the students' addresses. They'll figure out where these people are going to walk from, where the students are going to come from. I don't have that information, so I can't make that decision. Just please understand that.
I mean, in regards to crossing guards, I can answer that. We plan on having crossing guards on Jersey Avenue by Comstock Street and also on French Street. Once we determine with the school board where these kids are going to be crossing, then we can adjust it appropriately.
Okay.
So I plan on having, assigning crossing guards on French Street because of the pedestrians walking. I just don't know. I can't tell you exactly which way they're going to come from yet until we actually go out there, monitor everything. Once school begins, then I can actually have a better sense of where all these kids are coming from, which direction they're going to be walking, and better to assist with the crossing guards and also have my traffic officers go out there and help out if needed.
And then that's the other thing, due to where I'm just very upset with the police department due to where regards to too much speeding, no respect to pedestrians. As I said in a city council meeting, I keep seeing all these grants going through, a grant to the police department for DWI, a grant for pedestrians.
We do enforce, we have the grants, you are correct, we do enforce pedestrian safety. I do have officers that go out there, monitor, write summons if need be for cars that do not stop for pedestrians if they see a violation. We also have DWI grants, which is correct, and if an officer does stop somebody who's intoxicated, an arrest will be made.
Like I said, due to where what, I guess I'm just gonna have, yes, I do see,
What?
like I said, see a lot with New Brunswick police officers, that's why I'm speaking on
What
it.
area do you see a lot of violations that I can have them go focus on?
That's basically Handy Street, what, did I say Handy and Livingston, what, due to where I'm pretty sure you saw the accident, what, Handy and
And I do
Joyce
have officers
Comer,
that do
due to
Handy,
where, what,
Livingston,
70 miles
Joyce
per hour?
French Street, Easton Avenue.
Due to where I guess by the summertime, really, I'm just gonna have to get me a body camera to prove, like I said, how I see things. And like I said, New Brunswick police officers are right there and they're not doing anything.
Well, if you see them right there, approach them.
What
Or
we-
call, you can always call. If you see an officer there not doing something, you have the right to call and say, listen, I see so-and-so vehicle or whoever. Just call dispatch and ask to speak to the front desk supervisor.
Honestly, none of that working due to where I even tell you one time due to where what? How what? And like I said, not that I was trying to get him in trouble to prove a point. What, me, my son, and my mom used an extra truck due to where I warned him, move, don't run this red light, you're gonna get pulled over. Due to where I know he ran the red light. What, the officer did pull him over due to where, then what? Then after he saw me in a truck, did he get it? But wow, you know one thing that made me disappointing, like wow, that he didn't get a ticket. Ooh, my son seeing, ooh, wow, my daddy just ran a red light. Ooh, I can do the same thing. And that's what's happening with a lot of what kids are seeing around here due to where, come on, New Brunswick Police needs to do a much better job. Too many motor vehicle crashes every day, too much speeding going involved, and like I said, what if it takes me to start wearing a body camera by time summertime come, I will, because I don't see New Brunswick doing what they're supposed to do. Then that's all I have to say. Then like I said, here's the pictures to where for evidence of what I was saying. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi there, April Niklaus, 143 Sedan Street. I just have a few questions. First question is there an updated map of bike lanes for the city?
I'm sorry, again.
Is there an updated map of bike lanes in New Brunswick?
Updated?
Yeah, someone made a comment last fall, and we updated the map after that. So I want to say last September we updated the bike lane map. I know that because of the way the website is, I think that there are 2 links depending on how you get there, and one will get you to the defunct dead map that you shouldn't normally be able to get to, and then the other one will get you to the updated map. So I thought we'd maybe nip that, but maybe not. Websites are kind of interesting beasts sometimes.
Right.
But I'll double check and we'll update it if for whatever reason it's not.
Yeah, I checked recently that it seemed from the map that I was looking at, like that may have not been updated since 2015. It was like coming soon in 2015.
It probably hasn't changed.
No, because Livingston Ave came
Fair
in,
enough.
and I added that.
Fair enough, yeah.
The only thing is the original map wasn't created in like GIS or anything, so it was created in like someone made the base map and then they made the lines in paint. So to get the new map up, we basically did a similar thing to get the new lines
I
in.
got you.
Eventually we'll put together a GIS arrangement for that, but I'll double check to make sure that the map is there, and if it's not, by next week we'll have an updated but in paint version until we get the final one done. I'm checking right now the maps to see if it's here for whatever reason, and if you end up on the maps page for the city of New Brunswick, under planning and development, it has an option for bike lane maps, and then you can click on that, it has the updated maps. It includes Livingston Avenue and the like.
Residents, departments, planning and economic development, and then, just so you know, navigating this page.
I think I looked at a page that was just called bike lanes, It wasn't, you know,
Okay, so that might be, you know, an old page,
so that.
that I just talked about when the bike lanes were rolled out originally, and it had that information, so it probably would have been circa 2015 or so. This is just on the maps page. We'll go and update that next.
That would be very helpful. I
Thank
think,
you.
know,
Didn't
people
know that was there.
who are looking for, you know, bike lanes in New Brunswick are probably more likely to type New Brunswick bike lanes than they are New Brunswick maps. So I think having the updated link on the bike lanes page would be really helpful to people. Another question, you know, as it relates to bike lanes, I'm just very aware that a lot of the you know, the shared lanes that, you know, sharrows, bike gutters, whatever you call them, are very
Well,
faded.
chevrons. The symbol for the share road is like a chevron. Just to help you with your view.
Yeah. The markings are very faded. I mentioned I live on Saddam Street, and honestly, I lived there for several years before I realized that there was a
That's
lane.
one of the streets that we're in the process of accumulating a list of roads that need updated pavement markings. And my field inspector did mention the bike lanes on Saddam is one of them.
Yes.
That's on our, as we accumulate, you know, the list of repainting we want to get done, that was certainly in the list.
That's great to know. Are there any plans to upgrade the bike lane infrastructure in New Brunswick? So making, let's say, protected bike lanes as opposed to the ones that are very vulnerable to bicyclists getting hit by cars. That seems to be the, you know, the dominant available bike lane in the city right now it's not very safe. So something that's a little bit more in line with the bike lanes that's on College Avenue, where there's at least some marking for physical barriers, physical protection for the bicyclists. Are there any plans to upgrade
I
that
would
infrastructure?
suggest strongly that the bollards on College Avenue are for visual effect only. They are plastic. If a car is going 25 miles an hour, they offer no protection, physical protection. Just
Right, but the visual aspect of, you know,
Correct.
clearly marking, do not go here.
100% absolutely correct.
Right, and one of the challenges that I see all the time on Saddam Street is that cars just double park all over the bike lane. So even if the markings are good, you can't really use it in
And
practice.
that's beyond my control. The lanes are the engineering controls that we can put in place. Double parking is a function of enforcement. So,
Right, but I think my point is that if the infrastructure did more to deter that activity, then that would be less of a problem.
I don't disagree with that. I just,
You know,
cars
there is-
parking on it, wear out the lines. I gotta paint them more. You know, it happens. So clearly, when that gets run over by cars more than a bicycle, it causes more wear. So I agree with what you're saying, yes.
Right. So I was just asking, are there plans to upgrade that infrastructure?
Not to my knowledge at the moment, no.
Is there anyone who I could speak to recommend considering
Well,
upgrading
you
infrastructure?
can, this would be the forum to make the suggestions.
Do you have
I make
specific,
that
do you have
suggestion.
specific roadways you know, that you have in mind?
Well, I mean, I'm most familiar with Saddam Street since that's where I live. I've heard from other folks who are, you know, active or would like to be active cyclists in the city, but are generally not feeling safe to do so. I've heard that that's a chronic problem. When I mentioned that's an issue on Saddam Street, I usually hear, oh yeah, that's, you know, they're all like that. So,
I think it's, when you look at roadways like Saddam and like Livingston that have, you know, very
Width.
wide, you know, cartway width, the availability of modifying to put a bike lane in it obviously is easier when you have, you know, the bulk of the regular municipal roads, much less so. So, you know, it would, you know, if you wanted to do them to the highest level, like you see in some other municipalities in sections of New York, where they actually have physical separations between them, you know, you're looking at roadway pavement widths that we don't have by and large. So I would suggest if there's specific roadways that you would like us to look at or destinations to get to, that could be looked at and we could see if we could, you know, make that happen. There are available grants to enhance pedestrian safety and bicycle safety that, you know, allow for appropriate planning in that regard. But if we had the end user desires, that would certainly go well into advancing that idea.
Okay, great. Well, I certainly think Sedan Street is one street that could benefit being looked at in a more comprehensive way than just repainting the lines, but I'll certainly talk to other folks and gather some recommendations of streets in addition to Sedan Street that could use looking at.
I'd like to repeat something very important about Stam Street. It is our primary cross-town emergency access route. And fire engines, police cars, ambulances. So we have to preserve Sedan Street in terms of thoroughfare for emergency response. Just putting that out there. I know there's issues at Jones and Sedan, though whatever modifications have to be done on Jones, because Sedan is our primary cross-town emergency access route. Engines come out of the fire engine, they're going to Rutgers, anywhere out Route 1, we take the Sedan Street, so just be mindful. I know it's a big street, but it's also, I just want to remind you, it's also a key thoroughfare street for emergency response. So we have to always keep that in.
I'm very aware of that.
Yeah, I'm sure you are.
Time.
Okay. You hear the sirens all the time. God bless you.
Yes, that's a good reminder, but I definitely,
Right.
very, very top of mind for me. And then one other question I have is, I know that there was going to be a study done with regards to George Street and whether or not to, close it to car traffic or keep it open to car traffic. It was closed to traffic for quite a while during the height of the pandemic. I'm wondering if there's any update on that. Has there any decision been made?
It's in progress. We supplied a lot of information to them, for example, the timing of the lights, what they call the timing sequence of all the traffic lights on George. I think I own 2 lights over here on Joyce Corner, but they have the balance of all the other, so I believe it's in progress. The study's in progress. And again, I think that was commissioned by administration. I was just asked to support whatever information.
For what I think was commissioned by New Brunswick City Market.
Very fair enough.
New Brunswick City, what was that?
City Market, the special improvement district that handles downtown and the advertising marketing for the district, the commercial district downtown. I believe that they are the ones.
Right, yeah,
who are,
so we supplied a bunch of info, and I think it's in progress, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you happen to know any prospective timeline on that?
I have no idea.
Okay. Thanks for the information.
And one thing I'll add as a member also of City Markets Board, the executive board of the City Market organization, of which I'm not a member, but I have heard that they anticipate it may be roughly summer when that particular study is done, so perhaps midsummer or fall, it could be completed. Any other public comment?
Good evening. Commissioners, Charlie Craddockville, New Brunswick Today. I'll start by thanking you for hosting the meeting at 5:30 instead of during the workday. I was pleased to see more participation than usual. That said, also thank you to Rutgers for sending someone, and I would love to see the county and the state send folks here, since it always comes up that there's some jurisdiction that's beyond all of your control, beyond your knowledge in many cases. And it'd be great to have DOT, NJ Transit, and the county send representatives here, and I hope that that's something that can happen soon. Middlesex County cut their bus routes significantly, the one serving New Brunswick, and I need to know, are they bringing it back? Do we have any update on when we might get some restoration of what
I don't have any update on that. I know that there was some kind of study being done by NJ Transit, like a regional study focused on, I guess, integration of transit between New Brunswick and, I guess, neighboring municipalities. I don't know the results of that. Don't know if it's done technically either. But I haven't heard anything about the shuttle, which is essentially what you're asking about, yes?
Yeah, the M5, the M4 and M5 shuttle.
I think the M1 still runs.
M1 still runs, I see.
Yeah, I think it's one of the, I don't think I know they didn't bring back the M5, but I don't have any.
Right, so it's just absurd because, if you want to get to Jamesburg to go work in a warehouse, the county's got you covered. But if you want to get to Aldi in New Brunswick, or the Board of Social Services, or just, get to downtown from those places to enjoy the downtown, you're out of luck. So I really think it's unfortunate. The past person who was in charge of transportation for the county kept promising that they would have the results of this big study by the end of last year, and then he quit. And there's a new person in charge, and we've got really no clear communication. As I alluded to before, the county used to have a transportation coordinating committee. It was a great place to bring together people. I'm sure some of you have heard of it or been there, and that hasn't happened in a couple years now too. So we really need better communication with the county. Rutgers had a bus route, the New Brunswick shuttle, that's also been cut. Are they bringing it back? I know it was a parking authority joint venture. Are there any plans to restore that service, or is that gone forever?
Which one was the Brunswick? The one that stopped the...
Sometimes referred to as the 5th and 6th Ward neighborhood shuttle, the short Rutgers bus. Used to,
I haven't heard anything.
yeah, it used to stop at the wellness. There was a bus stop and parking authority installed there. At any rate, we're just really so much worse off than we were 5-10 years ago in terms of public transportation opportunities, and I think we need to step it up. Agree with bike lanes needing to be protected. I know it costs more, but just putting the paint on the road isn't enough. As we've seen, it fades and it doesn't get a lot of use because it does put the riders in a vulnerable position where on one side, anybody could open up their car door at any given time, and then you're smashing into somebody's car door. Or if any vehicle drifts into your lane, you could be exposed to getting in a motor vehicle
I
accident.
also need to remind you that we are bound by our stormwater management program to conduct street sweeping. So we cannot make it difficult or impede our ability to do that. So we have to be very careful as to what we consider. I'm not suggesting it's going to kill it, but
It's a good point.
there's many things that we're required to do, and what's required is what we should do first, what we're compelled to do by law first. Protecting the bike lane certainly is honorable, notable, and should be considered, but if it impedes my ability to meet state law, it becomes a juxtaposition. So I just wanted to...
I appreciate that. I understand you have to sweep the streets. I also understand other municipalities have used things like Jersey barriers to create protection for bike lanes, and if that saves people's lives, I think that's worth it.
What would that do to the available parking though?
Kills it.
Kills
Well, I hear you.
the city has a complete streets policy in effect. It says, as we can, to the limits of what we have, we will endeavor to make roads, safer and more amenable to pedestrian, bicycle, alternate traffic, and as well as standard vehicles. And when we look at road improvements, we endeavor to do that. As Tom indicated, there's always a lot of conflicting needs, wants, and demands and regulations that you have to deal with. And when you're in a built-up environment, it's very hard to do. It's very hard to do. And like you said, if I took that bike lane and put out the curb line on Sedan Street and I took away all that parking, boy, those property owners would be down here screaming bloody murder. I agree with the requirement and the request, absolutely. It's a challenge.
I agree. I just know that on Sedan Street there's already enough room for one bike lane each way, and really what I'm asking for is the protection. And I understand a Jersey barrier is going to take up a foot or 2 feet of space, but it's a wide cartway on Sedan Street. I'm just also speaking more generally about what other towns are finding ways to do, given they're facing similar challenges. And I think that the Jersey barrier is invented here. It's something we could utilize to protect people, and if it saves lives, it's worthwhile. I did also, speaking of Sedan Street, Sedan and Troop, the lighted crosswalk. Was it
On order.
17 weeks?
Yeah, I was going to say 16, 18 weeks lead time. As we discussed the first one, the second one got knocked.
That's what I say. You installed one.
No. We were still waiting for the first one when the second one got whaled by a traffic accident.
Right.
So now that second one's on order also. So they're both down.
Right, because it was only up for a day or two, right?
No, there was.
We didn't get it up.
No, we never got the first
Right, you
one.
started, yeah.
But we are awaiting both replacements at this
Yeah.
point.
Okay, well, I'll get to the crashes in a moment, but I did also want to ask for an update on the city engineer position. I overheard that the city engineer might be leaving the city. Is there a new person? Is there a plan for replacement, succession?
I'll speak, Dan has announced his retirement. God bless, Dan has been a great benefit for us for a good number of years, and he's full retirement, God bless him. So I wish him his best. The administration is currently interviewing candidates. Our expectation that is hopefully that they'll be on board very shortly.
Okay. And the retirement's effective the end of the month? Is that correct?
Yes.
Currently at the
Well,
end of April.
I join in wishing you all the best at
Thank you.
retirement, and thank you for your service. Similar, I know Rutgers had a person that was in charge of transportation for the longest time, Jack Molinar. He's now with the county, actually. But I don't know if anybody has filled his role at Rutgers. I'd like some type of update on who's the point person for transportation issues there.
I've always in the past got through the planning folks, Frank.
Yeah,
Owens,
I
so-
usually call
Frank
Frank
Roth.
for about everything.
And then, what's her name? She's such a lovely, right underneath, and she was sort of, I guess, kind of complimentary to Molinar. I can't remember
Got
her
it.
name at the moment. Anyway,
Okay.
anyway.
Thanks. Yeah, so the enormous parking deck going up, and I appreciate the update on that. I'm curious if there's any other parking projects planned in the city.
Not that I'm aware of.
Nothing in my pipeline that I'm aware of.
Okay. Danielle touched on it, the new school at 50 Jersey Avenue. You know, certainly the powers that be have their work cut out for them to make it safe for kids to get to and from that school. And I had brought up previously a program that's offered, I believe, by the Department of Education called Safe Routes to Schools. And I think that that would be a wise thing to pursue. I don't know why it wasn't already.
We've taken advantage of that in the past.
In the past.
Right.
And there are grant opportunities that's run through the NJDOT's annual grant cycle. There's a fairly limited amount of funds available.
And they're
So-
competitive.
And it's a competitive, right, it's a competitive grant, so, you know, you gotta really know what you want and have a good project that fits their criteria. They have like I said, it's graded, it's competitive. I've sat on some of their competitive grant review boards for probably the better part of 10 years, so, you know, I would say unless you have a really good grant opportunities for some of these smaller grant pools of money, you're probably wasting your time. But, I mean, in terms of a new school, and if, you know, if the city and the school board can come to terms on a good need, then it may be a good venue to seek some funding.
Yeah, I haven't reviewed the criteria for the grant, but it just strikes me as, you know, being a brand new school at an incredibly busy intersection where most of the
In that you're on a
folks are gonna
county
be
road, it'll
walking.
probably be, you know, certainly have to be coordinated with the county.
Right, okay.
But we've taken advantage of that and gotten funding in the past.
I
Okay.
don't think this year's funding round has come out yet. It usually drops like in the
The-
summer, I think.
The standard municipal aid grant advertisements will happen probably within the next month, and the application cycle, at least for the normal municipal aids, are usually July 1st deadline. I can't tell you offhand. I know
Well, that's for the next year award.
Yeah, for what they call the fiscal 24 awards. Certainly, a little research on the DOT website will probably flush that out.
Okay. Yeah, I just don't want to see people get hurt. I think that it's you know, already a pretty dangerous area for pedestrians, and if we're going to introduce, you know, hundreds or thousands of more pedestrians, you know, especially
Well,
Little-
you're aware
little
the traffic signal is
At
been
Hale.
approved, it's been
Right.
designed, it's been approved by the county at Hale. Because of the impending development
Right.
down in Sanford, another traffic signal is planned for that location. I'd like to think that between those two, you're gonna calm
Slow
the
down.
traffic speeds down. It's not gonna be be able to get up to speed between the two as much.
Because it-
All the on-site traffic controls and pedestrian movements and bus movements have been vetted through the site plan
right.
as that went through the board reviews
And the county.
and the county reviews. And even, as I recall, as it did go through, the county held off on its final blessing subsequent to the full review of the impacts of the roadway and the signal. So they didn't give their final blessing on that site plan until they were satisfied that they got what they wanted out of the traffic signal and got, you know, the frontage with improvements and so forth, all worked out.
Yeah, and next to the last point is the traffic accidents. I agree with Danielle, there have been way too many of them. And something I saw on the Department of Public Works and Engineering website sparked some interest. It says something about the Accident Review Board. Has anybody heard of the Accident Review Board? Is that a thing?
No, where does it say that?
It's on the website, so I got to agree with the concerns about the website. It says here, Engineering and Public Works, welcome to the department, DPW, Engineering Services, and then it says the Department of Engineering provides technical assistance to the following boards and commissions: Traffic Commission, Accident Review Board, and Planning Board and Board of Adjustment. So,
Accident Review Board, I've never,
I did file an Oprah request to try to get the minutes or the schedule. And
I've never been in one
Right.
since, and I've been here 10 years, so.
now, that said, it might say this for a reason. There might supposed to be one. There might be a good reason that there's. It's on the website. I will say this: the city police department posts most of the motor vehicle accident reports on their section of the city website, and I think it would be wise to review them because you would see what areas are most frequent, most severe, and be able to see the full, report from the police department. That said, the posting of those is incomplete, and I've raised this concern to the deputy director of the department that a crash from last January involving a political appointee was not posted to the website. So I'm trying to ensure that all of them do get posted, and I'd like for the police representative here to bring that concern to the leadership of the department, because it's important for anyone trying to do analysis to actually have the full story of all the crashes and not have certain ones not uploaded for whatever reason. And yeah, I just think that there's a lot of bad crashes in town, and I think we can do better if we identify the places that are the most problematic and try to get funds or try to get changes made to limit those. Finally, just the city website needs a lot of updates apparently, and I think that in terms of modern technology, these meetings would be even better if they were restored back to once a month. If there was a remote access option, like so many boards have these days for remote participation, and also if you made a recording of the meeting and published that for people. I'm doing that today through Brunswick Today, but I think I'm probably not always going to be able to make it. And if I miss it, I'd like to be able to see what I missed, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that would like to see what is being said here and the work that you're doing. But with that, I'll just say thank you for hearing me out, and I hope to get some answers perhaps from the Rutgers gentlemen after the meeting. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Under old business, any further update on the flashing pedestrian crosswalks?
That's what we just talked about, it's on order.
So,
The other side got hit, and now the bike poles are in order, so.
And it's an extended lead time to get the poles.
so would that be one lead time for the first and then a secondary later
Yes.
arrival? for the second?
Unfortunately, the pole that just got hit, that was just ordered, is the master versus the other pole that reacts to where the control is. So unfortunately, that will probably not be back in service until we get the second of the two legs, which is probably, 12 to 15 weeks at this point, unfortunately. Just
Yeah, if I recall correctly, I think the first poll's due sometime this month, based on the original estimate of time.
Alright. We have no new business, and then we also have an opportunity for a roundtable. Is there any items worthy of note?
Spring of small business, there should be new business again, Townsend Street, with the permit parking. So that's being presented again. And we know that it was a conversation that would cause a snowball effect to other parts of the city and other wards and districts. But it is coming back up, and so we need to be mindful of that. And I've talked to Harry already. So they're going to be going door to door again to have these discussions, make sure that we got a good number of property owners, and figuring out what type of plan we can put in place with the school district, the hospitals, the construction, companies that all park between towns, on towns and between Lee Avenue and French, and in that area, which causes a lot of issues for the teachers that park there from Roosevelt and so on, and then the students that park there, and the doctors that park there. So it becomes this big problem for the property owners there. So we're working on that. That was a project in the pipeline for at least a year and a half, and then once it started to snowball into, if we do it for this street, we got to do it for the next 8 streets, and then if we do it for the next 8 streets, we got to do it for the next 12. So we're back to square one again. So it's something that'll be on probably everybody's radar over the next 6 weeks.
Well, let me know, because the signs are about 8 weeks to order. That's the lead time for, Ward 2, whatever, how we do, we have Ward 6, whatever. It takes a little bit to get those signs, so let me heads up. Thanks.
Any other items? All right. We have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Happy Easter, everybody.
Yes, happy Easter.